Rugby League Backchat is sponsored by TotalRL.com.
Welcome along to Rugby League Backchat from the Pit Sports Bar here in Leeds. Joining us this week, the man, the legend, Gary Schofield, the editor of Rugby League World. Matt Shaw is here. Welcome, Matt. And our favourite London Broncos fan, Ron Knox, has joined us again for a reprise after his successful stint last time. Right, let's crack on. You must still be celebrating after London's epic victory.
I heard it's in a bar in Turkey.
Oh, did you? Right.
Did not do my digestion.
Right, look, what a weekend if you're a supporter of the underdogs who gave the Super League clubs a bloody nose in the Championship, with London, as aforementioned, beating Salford, Toulouse downing Hull KR, and Toronto beating Widnes. We'll leave the Halifax-Leeds game aside, Schoey. What a weekend. You're a champion of the Championship, Matt, aren't you? So give us your thoughts on the weekend there.
Not surprised. Not surprised. I keep telling everyone the Championship is a brilliant product, an absolutely fantastic product with high quality teams, and they've proven it now. And they've done it throughout the qualifiers, haven't they? Because London have already beat Widnes as well. They've beat 2 of the 4. Those teams are capable of playing in Super League. They are capable of beating Super League teams. Could they do it week in, week out? Well, we don't know. We'll find out if they go up. Yeah. But it's no surprise. What this does do, and we talk about league structures all the time, isn't it? You just wonder, should we have just kept it a couple more years just to see how it goes on? Because you go back to the start when the Super 8s were brought in, and people said it isn't realistic to think that Championship clubs can do this. It's a false way of pretending you can get promotion. Yeah. Well, we've just had nearly a Championship clean sweep in
Pea-shooters versus tanks.
And wasn't it heartwarming to see a Super League team actually manage to cause a shock and beat a Championship side on Sunday?
Very good, very good. Well, what they've done, of course, is they've funded the pea-shooters at the top of the Championship with extra money to enable the best teams in the Championship to compete with the worst in the Super League. What about the London Broncos then, Ron? Even after that epic win, they're still outside the top 5, but they've given themselves a chance because they play Halifax in their final fixture, of course.
Yeah, and you know, Halifax's record in the qualifiers is not great.
Well, I'd go so far as to say it's absolutely abysmal, actually. They've played 6 and lost 6. Yeah,
they lost all 7 last year.
So you'd have to fancy the Broncos in their current form. Yeah. To actually, because it means so much to them as well, right? To actually put the foot on the throat and really get the job done.
Okay, right, Gary, what did you make of the weekend? Are you enthused or ambivalent?
Very much so, and I say when you look at certainly, I think it's the result of the season. To be honest with you, when Toulouse beat Hull KR Rovers, because Hull KR are prepared for this because they know they was going to finish at the bottom 4 before the season started, so they prepared for it from there. Don't be pulling the face, Rod. They know they was going to finish. What I'm saying here.
Did Leeds prepare for it as well, Gary?
Hold on, Hull KR. Listen, Hull KR knew they were going to finish in the bottom 4. It's as simple as that. So,
did they? Right.
Yeah, of course they did, and 19 points up from there. You look at the quality of what they've got, and also as well, and the experience what they've got in that side. To be 19-0 up, and then for Toulouse, I'm saying that is a performance of the season. To come back like they did, 34 unanswered points, and to give themselves the opportunity of automatic promotion for Toulouse, or certainly now going in a £1 million game, I thought it's absolutely sensational. Plus as well with London, their great win from there with Salford. And I say, I think the qualifiers have been very enjoyable to watch.
If the bottom end of Super League clubs are missing 3 or 4 or 5 players, Salford missing Hastings, obviously suspended, Hull KR missing players, then they've got a problem, particularly away from home.
Yes.
Yeah, yes. But it's a serious issue for all the clubs. I mean, in the Championship, if you look at some of those teams, Toulouse had Rhys Curran back in the last couple of weeks. He's phenomenal for them. He scored the first try in that game. They've missed him, so it's only the same. Look, the reality is, if you look at the Championship teams and you look at the players, there are a lot of players in those teams that would get in the Super League teams that they're playing against, and like you say, what the qualifiers, what the Super 8s has done is it's allowed them to get closer with that extra funding, and we're seeing the benefits of the now. And I sort of tweeted tongue in cheek on Saturday night, why again was it that Super League clubs wanted rid of the Super 8s?
Why was it?
Well, there's various reasons, there's various conspiracies. Well, come on then, but you have to wonder when 3 Championship teams beat 3 Super League teams in one day, which leaves relegation and promotion wide open with 1 round left. you do wonder whether all the talk of money and the structure not being right might be to do with the jeopardy and the genuine
fear of relegation. You think they're trying to protect their own position, do you?
Well, I think you could certainly make a very valid case for that.
Right. The situation is this. We'll talk about Widnes later on in the programme. Widnes are relegated, Halifax go back into the Championship. Right, after that, Leeds Rhinos are going to be in, aren't they? Is there a scenario?
There is a scenario.
There is a scenario, but let's ignore it. Right, so Leeds are going to be safe, and then Salford have 8 points, Toronto have 8 points, with Salford's points difference being monumental. Hull KR have 8-2, Toulouse and London have 6, and the fixtures are Salford against Toulouse on Thursday, Friday Leeds v Toronto, Saturday London versus Halifax, and Sunday Hull KR versus Widnes. Why aren't these games at the same time?
I was just going to bring that up. Why aren't they at the same time? It's ridiculous. I mean, there's so much riding on them. Surely they should be played at the same time.
There is, but you're making the assumption there that the Rugby League have any say in this. Obviously, Sky have decided this makes better schedule for them, and Rugby League has had to go along with that. It depends where you sit as well. If you're the last game on Saturday, it's actually not a bad position to be in. But if you're the first game on Thursday, which Toulouse are in, I feel sorry for Toulouse.
In fairness, Ron, the same broadcaster televises the FA Premier League, and all the FA Premier League matches kick up at 4 o'clock on a Sunday on the last round.
They are told that's the way it's going to be.
So what I'm really curious about is that why, when the Rugby Football League or the Super League negotiated the broadcast contract, why didn't they say it's all fine, but on the last round of matches in both competitions we're going to kick off at the same time? You're okay with that, aren't you?
Well, there's
like Mr. Scudamore at the Premier League.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So anyway, that's what's happened. So, but is that going to cause a problem? Not kicking off at the same time? It may do. It may not. Because by the time it gets to the last game, Hull Kingston. Well, I'll give you another reason for a problem here. At the moment, we're led to believe that any team, that the team going out of the Super League will receive a parachute payment, which is £500,000, which Lee received last year, as we record, and that will go to Widnes, who've been relegated. But if 2 teams go out of the Super League at the same time, Widnes and another, they have to share the £500,000. Now, the only other team that can go out realistically are Hull Kingston Rovers, who happen to be playing Widnes. You see where I'm going with this?
I see exactly where you're going with this.
So Widnes could find themselves in a situation here where if they defeat Hull Kingston Rovers and put them in jeopardy, they could lose half of their £500,000. Now, I'm familiar with the principle of a win bonus, but I'm not so familiar with a lose bonus. Now, players and clubs shouldn't be put in that position, should they? That can't be a position that a club should be put in.
And tell me why next year or the year after the Championship money is going to be equal.
That is going to
and
be.
Yet there is going to be a parachute payment.
Yes.
And tell me how that rewards ambition.
That is all.
Achieves a goal of a wider Super League.
Yes. Now, so do they need to do something about this before these matches kick off and say, well, the only solution I can think of is that they're going to have to double down and say, we're going to have to, if 2 teams go out, they both get £500,000 and they're going to have to cop it. But I'm told they haven't got the money to cop it. So
they won't do that. I guess.
Well, they can't put Widnes Vikings in that position.
Well, the only alternative, I suppose, is the fact that if Toronto were to go up automatically, then surely if they're not taking their funding money,
that's a good point.
Then surely that there would be money to fund 2 Super League teams going down with £500,000.
Well, let me just paint a scenario. I'll just paint a scenario that could happen, right? Just out of interest. Right, Toronto have a difference of plus 17. If they beat Leeds by 10, it goes to plus 27, leaving Hull KR 22 points adrift, even if with 2 competition points fewer, but 22 points difference worse. They'd have to then beat Widnes by 23 points. So Widnes would need to lose by 23 points to save £250,000. So you could end up in a scenario. But you see what I mean? That's a ludicrous situation.
Yeah, Rod, I know where you're coming from, but let's put this in a nutshell, right?
Well,
the way Widnes are playing, they're rubbish.
I know they're rubbish,
so I can tell you.
So they don't need any incentive to lose.
They don't need any incentive. Hull Kingston Rovers, they've got all the incentive they want. They've been through all this position before. We know we saw it from there. Hull Kingston Rovers will absolutely batter Widnes on Sunday, so I don't think there'll be any scenario.
No, but I just don't think it's a fair position to put Widnes as a club or their players, because the players might be told, well, if we get the full 500, we can afford to pay you next year, and if we don't, then we can't. I mean, it's just nonsense. It's a nonsensical situation.
You would hope, wouldn't you, that this is.
What
You
would you do? What would you do if you were playing?
No comment.
Well, exactly. But we don't, if you're in a position as a player and you're told that if you know that if you lose, you've got a chance of getting a contract, and if you win, you won't. I mean, that can't.
It's a
you
nonsense.
can't put a player in that situation.
The whole thing is a nonsense.
It is. The parachute payment has caused a problem, hasn't it?
Parachute payment is disgraceful.
Right.
The problem with the parachute payment is when we eventually go back to equal funding, which I think is going to happen over a 4-year period, effectively.
Yeah.
Your concern is that the team going down is always going to have more money, so you're going to have yo-yo clubs. This is what happened when we had one up, one down before.
Right.
So we're going about structure all the time. This was a negative of what we had before, and it's going to probably be a problem again, unless you have a club coming up like a New York who find multi-millions worth of pounds that they can compete against these teams.
Yeah.
So it is
Toronto.
It is a problem. It is a problem. The parachute payment. It does cause an issue.
Yeah. Right, what do we think is actually going to happen here on the field, leaving aside that scenario I just painted? Do Salford have two things in their favour? One, the ground advantage over Toulouse, and also the fact they've got their talisman Hastings back.
Yeah, Hastings is back, and I think over the last 2 games as it proved that Salford have been in one-man side, but Hastings is back, they've got the home draw, so I reckon Salford will turn Toulouse over. Right. Leeds and Toronto, for me it's all about the attitude what the Leeds players are going to go into, because as I said, Leeds are safe, so again it's all about the attitude. If Toronto come, they want to get ripped in. I reckon Toronto might just turn Leeds over, to be honest with you. I do. Yeah, I do. I think it's all about the attitude with the Leeds players. London, Halifax. London have had a great qualifiers from there. Delighted for Danny Ward and James Lanley and all the players. Halifax, they'll be thinking about Bad Monday, so that's going to be an easy win for London. And as I've mentioned, we witnessed the Hulkiston Rovers.
You tipped Salford to this in the last game, so that's not a good sign.
Hey, listen, what I can tell you is hindsight's a wonderful thing. Don't worry about that. Hindsight's a wonderful thing. And when you look at the last game, Widnes Hulkiston Rovers, as I've mentioned, Widnes have been rubbish all season. Right. Hulkiston Rovers are prepared for this easy win for LKR.
The Toronto one's the interesting one, isn't it? Because the Leeds got an eye on Mad Monday. I don't think Kevin Sinfield and Jimmy Lowes would allow that.
Why is Mad Monday even still a thing in 2017?
Because they're not allowed to go out. They're not allowed to go out for the season, so that's what they do.
Isn't it a professional game now, Gary? I mean, it's not 1985 when you were the master poacher, is it?
Rod, listen. Sportsmen are only human. They still like a few beers, don't worry about that.
Okay, it's like for the fans.
Is it
Silly Sunday? Yeah.
Silly Sunday, right? Okay, right. Well, on Silly, when you're having Silly Sunday, will you be at Holkar? At the lightsaber? No, right, okay.
Sadly.
Where it's going to be bring the abacus to see if they can catch up with Toronto or whoever it is. So Toronto, it could come down to points differences in Toronto and Hull, couldn't it?
It could do.
Well, it will do if Toronto beat Leeds.
I don't Toronto are a one-dimensional team. We've played them 3 times, so we know how that. Yes, we did. Yeah. In fact, it was their first defeat in the Championship. Yeah. I reckon Kevin Sinfield will put a Leeds side up that will actually play football against them, and I don't think they'll be able to cope.
I'll be honest, I've not been impressed with either of Toronto or Leeds particularly. I watched Leeds on Sunday and they were so dull. They were so dull to watch. They were making yardage well. They got to the 5th tackle and they were just taking one out carries to the line and just making Halifax start on their own line. Like, this is Leeds Rhinos. Yeah, Leeds shouldn't be playing like that.
No, and then playing under pressure.
And Toronto as well. I don't quite know what to make of Toronto. When they play free flowing and they're offloading all the time, they look a far better team. But they seem to have this emphasis on going down the middle that I don't think brings the best out of them. Right. The halfback thing is strange as well. Ryan Brierley's just sitting on the touchline.
Where is Brierley?
He's not getting picked.
Not getting picked.
Well, why not?
He's not getting picked. He
was one of their big signings, wasn't he? When they snared him.
They're going for Macron and Wallace. And Wallace has been phenomenal at times this year. Macron's defence is very good, but as an attacking option, I think Browley's the best, and I think they've really missed him in the qualifiers from an attacking perspective.
Right.
But isn't it amazing that we will have one Championship team definitely promoted this year.
They will do.
Despite structures and stuff like that. The old structure has delivered a Championship side being promoted.
And isn't it wonderful to see how a first past the post league creates such excitement, and you don't need to contrive all sorts of things. As we also saw in a thrilling denouement in the first past the post league in League One. Matt, we'll talk about the York City Knights actually in the next part, but that obviously a fantastic success story there. So, right, the teams that will be automatically promoted will be what?
I'll
give you Leeds and Salford. You only have to have one
Leeds, Salford, and
He wants to say Toronto, but he daren't.
No,
well, I will. Leeds, Salford and Toronto.
I'm also going to go Leeds, Salford and Toronto.
I knew you'd say Toronto. What do you... I knew you did.
OK are a funny side, aren't they? You never know quite what to expect.
Well, they won't be finding it very funny if they end up getting relegated for the second time in 3 seasons.
There were 4 scores up and lost, which did Broncos no favours at all.
No. Right, so do you think OKR are going to get above that?
I think
OKR. Right, so Leeds, Salford, and I think it'd be Leeds, Salford, and OKR. And then the £1 million game then, well, would be Toronto against somebody, either Toulouse or London versus Toronto.
I think it'll be Hull KR one of Toulouse or London, yeah.
Right, well, it will all become clear. It will all become clear. At the moment, it's as clear as mud, but over the 4 days of play, on the Thursday, the Friday, the Saturday and the Sunday, it will become clear. What is also clear is that Widnes have been relegated and York City Knights have been promoted, and we will talk about that in the next part of Rugby League Backchat.
Rugby League Backchat is sponsored by TotalRL.com.
Welcome back to Rugby League Backchat from the Pit Sports Bar here in Leeds. Okay. Let's start talking about Widnes. In March 2016, the Guardian screamed, "Forget Leicester City, Widnes are the new sporting fairy tale Schoey." They won 6 of their first 7 games that season to sit top of the table. They won 6 of the next 23 and finished 7th. And then they finished bottom in 2017, bottom in 2018, where they managed to win 4 out of 29 league games and have been relegated. Where did it all go wrong, Mr. Betts and Mr. Rule?
Well, at the end of the day, my question is, well, was it right sacking Dennis Betts? And I was at the game when Wakefield had him there, and do you know what the hatred what the supporters were giving Dennis Betts, and the board had to make a change, unfortunately. But when you look at the results since then, with Francis taking over from there, and my believer is being certainly from a coach's point of view, coaches don't make players, players make coaches, and quite simply, the quality's not been there. For Widnes with the players, the desire, their effort, the commitment, yeah. It's been there at times, but I think it's the journeymen of Widnes, the so-called experienced players of Widnes, have been a big letdown. The young kids, they've done their best. They've done their best what they've got around them. So it's the experienced players around in that Widnes side who have been a massive disappointment. The picture never it doesn't tell lies, does it? What, they've lost the last 20 from there, and
you are forgetting an epic cup win over Coventry Bears in amongst that sequence.
No, they beat Halifax as well.
And Halifax as well. Sorry,
but overall, the journeymen who have been in that Widnes side, the experienced players, quite simply, haven't been good enough. Yeah, simple as that.
Well, even London beat them, didn't they, Ron? So, I mean, you know.
And very convincingly by 1 drop goal.
Yes, absolutely. Look, what do you make of it from the outside when you see a team that's just, you know, clearly sleepwalking into relegation as they have been for most of the season?
I agree with Schoey that their best players have been their young players. And one thing we found when we were in Super League and then as soon as we came down is you can't rely on journeymen. They don't do the job for you. So we've been patiently and steadily building up our academy-driven players, and we've got about 9 of them in the side now, and they are the foundation of the side. They want to wear the shirt, they love playing for the club, and they'll do anything to get the result for their teammates. And if you don't have that spirit in your club, you are going nowhere, no matter what the calibre of your players is. And if you look at what Salford did, you look at what Leeds did last year, they didn't learn from any of that at all. So, and Widnes have had exactly that same problem now. There's no togetherness. They don't have enough of their better academy players. Maybe they've not got enough good academy players coming through. So there's a real lesson to be learnt here. One of the things I found interesting about Catalan's success is the number of French players now in the Catalan side who came through their system. Surely that's going to be the message.
Widnesians. I mean, you said there wasn't much togetherness. There seemed to be quite a lot of togetherness, Matt, in a bar in Toronto after the match, didn't they? There was a video. It was posted by Canadian lady called Kirsten Ulrich. You can watch it yourself on Twitter at Kirsten0315. What did you make of that carry on?
I'm caught in two minds.
Are you?
Look, the human, I know the professional sports people, but does anyone not go and have a drink after a game? Maybe Schoey's in a better position to comment on that than me, but look, was it well advised? No, probably not. But if you look at the video, there's a lot of Widnes fans in there who are enjoying themselves. They're not kicking off at them or confronting them. They're having a good time.
What do you think would have happened if that was a bunch of footballers from, say, West Bromwich Albion after they were relegated?
It would have caused similar outrage. Right. And the fans that are upset, I get it. I completely understand. The team's just been relegated. They're heartbroken. They don't want to see them celebrating and look. They want them to be in the hotel room crying their eyes out and not having a sleepless night. I get that. I completely get that. I think if they'd have had a few beers with the fans and said sorry, the ones that are out there in Toronto, and then gone to the hotel and done it behind closed doors, don't think it'd have been a problem. No. I just think maybe given the circumstance, it wasn't the most well-advised thing to do. On Widnes, the reality is, agree with Schoey, the squad's not good enough. The squad's not good enough. There's reasons for that. They've got the lowest salary cap in Super League because they've no money. They haven't got a benefactor like clubs like Huddersfield do, or like Salford have found for the likes of Jackson Hastings.
They did have a benefactor in Steve O'Connor.
Yeah, but they don't anymore.
No, I know they haven't got any more, but they weren't. They weren't, apart from that brief time when they were the new Leicester City and they were the Leicester Vikings. They didn't really.
They had Kevin Brown then. They had players like Kevin Brown, who's now played in a World Cup final since then. Yeah. So the mistake was they didn't replace him, and the fans were annoyed about that, and because they were told the money would be reinvested. But the club's argument is that the membership went down, so they had to find a way to shortfall it, and they don't have money to just pump back in.
No, fair enough.
It's a tough one. I think the reality for Widnes is they don't have a benefactor. They don't have the money to put together a Super League squad, and as a result, that's why they're going to the
Championship. Let me just ask Ron this, right? On this, Ron, you're a fan, right? This is what James Rules said this week.
All right.
Together we can help restore Widnes Vikings to Super League status. We face a pivotal moment right now, and the continual backing of our members, supporters and commercial partners is vital to sustaining this club. If we all unite behind the club, we can progress from this moment and ensure it's here for generations to come. If support wavers, we face an uncertain future. Right. If you read that, if there was London Broncos in this situation, you're a London fan and you pay your season ticket and membership, blah, blah, and you read the chairman saying that, would you say, well, stuff this, I'm not giving him any more money, or say, he's absolutely right, James Rule, rally to the cause?
More the first one, I would think.
Right, okay.
Because what the guy's doing is say, look, we've screwed up, please help us, please don't desert us. We know we don't deserve it, but please, he doesn't wash.
The thing is, have they screwed up? Have Widnes screwed up?
Yeah, they haven't. Yeah, I mean, Widnes have the lowest spend, don't they, in Super League. Yeah. They're now being given 500 grand for losing 21 games straight in Super League.
When you say
what's the likelihood of them screwing up again?
But you say they screwed up. How have they screwed up? They've no money. They've no money to spend. They've got a sustainable business.
So why are they in Super League then?
That's why they're going down. That's what I'm saying.
So why is everybody concerned?
So what you're saying, they're not basically they're not a Super League club.
No,
this is Widnes Fight, or were the Chemics then, Schoey, weren't they? Do you remember when the likes of King Kurt Sorensen and Martin Afar and Alan Tate and John Dever and Tony Myler winning the league and a never to be forgotten day against Wigan and the World Club Challenge against Canberra Raiders are no longer. They're basically not big enough to.
If they're in the Championship,
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying they're not a Super League club.
If they were in the Championship this year, they'd have had the third highest salary cap.
Right.
In the Championship, which is a predominantly part-time competition. They've just not got. They don't have money, and as a result, could they have spent the money they got better on the salary cap? You could argue the recruitment they did before the qualifiers. Liam Finn hasn't worked. Harrison Hansen's gone well. Charlie Gubb hasn't worked. Could they have recruited better with the money? Yeah, you could argue. You could argue that was a mistake, but overall,
they've got the results they paid for. Is what you're saying? Basically, you paid for the results.
Isn't it the case, Rod, that the bottom six in Super League is not that much better than the top six in the Championship?
Well, with evidenced by the
Super League's going. The standard of Super League is going down. The standard of the Championship's going up. The gap's narrowing.
Right.
So why is there this protectionism around the bottom six of Super League?
Well, they're going to get promoted. There's going to be a guaranteed team promoted.
Yeah, the side that comes down has 500 grand, and they'll buy 3 or 4 Aussies, and they'll be good enough.
Also, as well, I'll just go in there by the Championship signs why they are getting better, because they are signing better quality players, and what the bottom six are in Super League are doing, as I've mentioned now for the last few weeks, they are signing too many journeymen where they're not bringing any quality to them sides. It's as simple as that.
Well, your other thing as well, look at, if you take London and Halifax as examples, the amount of London players that are playing for the London team at the minute is staggering.
Yes.
Staggering, and they're coming through all the time. Halifax is reserve grade. I think they've played 9 reserve grade players. And look, I know they've got not good results, but they're constantly producing their own players. That means that, and they're getting better. These are high quality players. There are a few at Halifax and London that'll be in Super League within 12 months. I'd look at Brandon Moore and Chester Butler at Halifax.
Maybe with London.
Super League quality players. London, if they don't go up, you've got like Dan Hindmarsh, Alex Walker, all ready to go to Super League.
So should it be 2 up, 2 down?
Ideally, yes. Ideally, yes. Is there not a case for some kind of structure which allows, when there's 2 quality teams, to have the opportunity to demonstrate their quality and go up by
Should it be 1 up, 1 down with the second in the Championship playing the second bottom in the Super League in the second position?
That would be a sensational game.
Right. The £1 million game or something. We could call. I tell you what, here's another thing. Will London actually be allowed to play in the Super League in that ground in Ealing, by the way?
It's interesting.
Because the RFU won't let the Ealing Trailfinders.
No, I know that. I know that. But the people that run Trailfinders are already mindful of that.
Are they? What are they?
Their focus is to get in the Gallagher Premiership, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
So but if they any move they make in terms of the ground, we can benefit from.
Right, but so what are they? This is interesting. What are they planning to actually do if they do get promoted?
Build some stands.
Build some stands.
You know that you know behind the dugouts.
Yeah.
They've got. I think they've got planning all set in place for a stand behind that. I think it might be temporary at first.
So what if London go up before Ealing?
Then they're making a very shrewd investment, I would suggest.
Right, okay.
If not, there's other grounds that we could play. Most fans would love to go back to the Stoop, but whether that's an option or not,
I thought that was the best place for London to play.
That was the best ground we've ever had, and I'll tell you why. Because it had that kind of openness, that warmth, that friendliness. There was the long bar; it was about 50 yards long. The fans got together. The players were accessible, and I know players that. I know fans that came for the first time. I loved all the, the kind of accessibility that you have in rugby league. They loved the fact you could talk to the owner straight to his face, and you could have a good chat about.
Might not work at Widnes currently.
Hang on. We talk about meddling with stuff all the time in rugby league. London have set up a base since relegation, found a home, are starting to grow again. Why would you move again?
Well, because it won't meet the minimum standards.
Yeah, but they can make it meet minimum standards.
Well, only if they build stands. That's going to cost money.
Well, why move again?
Well, it's because it's cheaper to go to the Stoop than it is to build a stand in Ealing,
It's not about being cheap. It's about doing what's best for the club. Sure,
it's got to get the money, man. Where are they going to get the money to build stands,
They've moved and it's caused nothing but problems. And they had to go right back to the start. Don't move again. There'll be ways.
Will there? Right.
Rod, we will find a way.
Oh, right, okay. Well,
don't move from Ealing.
If they beat Halifax, we'll look forward to you seeing you finding a way. Right, let's talk about finding a way for the York City Knights, because they've found a way, haven't they, from from oblivion in a very short time to the joy of promotion from the first past the post league, just to underline that again. From the League One into the Championship, it's a great success story. Many moons ago, I was at university in York. It's a lovely city. It really is. It's fantastic. What a great place it is, and it's great to see their rugby league team doing so well, isn't it? It really is a massive success story.
Incredible. Probably the story of the year for me. They are an example for every part-time aspiring club. And you talk about what they do on the pitch, how they play is fantastic. Brilliant brand of rugby. Brilliant brand of the best team to watch, certainly League One and outside of Super League. In terms of the media and marketing, got it spot on. This sport, club by club, is lousy at marketing the game. They are exceptional, and you can see it with the crowds that they get. Huge crowds for given what they've had in the past.
Didn't they? And in that game against Whitehaven, 3,223. I think it was.
If we had 20 clubs like York outside Super League, the sport would be in a fantastic place, and I'm delighted they're going up, and I think they've got unlimited potential. I think they could be whatever they want to be.
Really? Right, so you think this might just be the beginning?
I do,
Obviously they've got a ground at Bootham Crescent, which is fine.
Well, they've got the new ground coming as well.
That's coming as well,
I do, I think, look, I'm not going to say they're going to be in Super League in 2020, but I think they can work their way towards that quite quickly. I think that they're in a big city. They're in a big city with a big population. They know how to tap into that. The marketing's proved that. If they keep going and going and going, it's just going to get bigger and bigger.
Right, any side that can demonstrate a different culture. They've got this bright, this well marketed, warm, friendly approach. You go to some traditional grounds, particularly if you're London Broncos, you get enmity, you get nastiness, you know, what are you doing in this league? We don't want you, clear off. We've had that for 38 years. York aren't like that. York are, and the more teams you get like York, and dare I say Toronto as well, that offering a different way to market this game and a different culture to spread throughout the game, it will all be for
I think the way that you look at York as well, I think the credit's got to take, you know, Mark Campbell and John Flatman, the guys who have turned that around, and I think all they've done is simplicity, you know, and as Matt mentioned there, the game as a whole, rugby league, is pathetic at marketing and promoting the game. But what York have done, they've just been simple. They've brought in a young British coach who likes to play the game in the right way. He's brought players in who wants to play sort of style of play. Results on the field will show you from there, but the promoting and marketing has been brilliant. And as you mentioned, the potential in York, the York people absolutely love rugby league. I can remember going there with Leeds in the York's Cup tie. I think we had about 8,000 people there. So the potential's there. All they have done, they simplified everything. Attractive rugby league, quality young British coach, promoting and marketing, and there you go, and that's why the fans are turning out. Great credit to York.
It's quite simple, really, right? I mean, me and Schoey at games all the time, aren't we? And the best entertainment at a lot of the Super League grounds is the food that's available in the press room, because there's nothing on the pitch. There's not like I'm not going to name the club, but I went to a club, nothing outside the ground. Went in, a bit of music started playing about 40 minutes before the game. There were some cheerleaders on for about 5 minutes, and that was it.
This is no good, is it?
That's the traditional way.
No, but this is absolutely right.
It's
wrong.
It's terrible.
Yeah, Matt's quite correct. You cannot now expect just to put someone on a turnstile, take someone's £20–25 and just say, we'll stand there, a game will kick off in half an hour. That's not good enough anymore, is it? No,
it doesn't work.
No, and Toronto have been derided for many things, but let's get it right. Toronto are putting on a show and an event, and people are going and they're enjoying the occasion. And some of them are having a beer during the game. Well, so what? They're enjoying being at the game, in the atmosphere, and the match going on.
Toronto Wolfpack home games was near to we're going to get to darts. And people say, oh, they're not
greatest game of all, man.
They're not watching the game.
So what?
Who cares if you got 8,000? There was more people at Toronto on Saturday than there were at Castleford and Wakey. A West Yorkshire derby between two of the most traditional clubs we've got.
They're the only side that live up to that initial Super League ideal, aren't they? Of making each game an event, dancing girl. Bradford were fantastic at that.
Keep the Cougars going, weren't they? They led the way. Keep the Cougars led the way.
Many years ago.
Where's all that gone then?
Well, the people, I think what happened was the clubs became, dare we say, complacent, and just expected to hold their hand out to the broadcaster for the money and to hold their hand out to the punter to come and pay their money.
But also as well, what I've got
found out now.
What I've got to say about the coach and all James Ford.
Hold on, Schoey. Come back to that in a minute or two. Come back and tell us all about James Ford in a couple of minutes, because we've got to take a break on Rugby League Back Chat. But we will be back to finish off our discussion about York and talk about the Super League Dream Team, which will be being announced in the next few days as well. That's in the final part of Rugby League Back Chat.
Rugby League Back Chat is sponsored by TotalRL.com.
Welcome back to Rugby League Back Chat here at the Pit Sports Bar in Leeds. For that short intermission, Gary Schofield was revving up to tell us all about James Ford. Weren't you, Schoey? Give us some thoughts on what a good job he's done.
It's not just a great job he's done, but I think as well the style of play, what he wants from there, and the response what he gets from his players, and I think the belief what York have done. I think he's the only one in League One now. He's going to be in the Championship where he's a full-time coach. They've given him a 3-year deal. But one thing for sure, what's happened in any sort of sport, a coach has only got a certain span at that club before the players get a little bit fed up from there. So once Ford is finished at York and doing a great job and took them as far as what they can, right? He will be the next, for me, he will be the next coach of Castleford Tigers. Darryl Powell will move on somewhere else because he would have had his limit from there. Hopefully, he'll be the England coach by then, Darryl. Fordy, then, what Fordy will do, he'll hopefully carry on the great way what Darryl Powell has done, keep playing the attractive, smart rugby league. Castleford themselves, the way they promote and market the club is sensational. What an ideal fit. The great job Fordy's done. I'll tell you what, he might be a future England coach after Darryl Powell's finished and maybe won the World Cup for us. Hold on. Maybe won the World Cup for us in 2021 by playing the game in the right way, smart, attractive, open rugby league. Tell you what, I won't be far off.
Mystic,
I won't be far off. I won't be
Mystic
Schoey
there.
But as far as James Ford, he's done a sensational
job. Coach England to World Cup glory. And what year will that be, Schoey? 2000.
Well, Powell will be 21. Powell will be 21. If you go to America in 25, it'll be James Ford. You believe me?
Let's just finish up what we're saying about the proper marketing of the game, because you took heads on Castleford there.
Yeah.
And I meander down to the Hose on occasion just for a night out, and I actually. They're somewhere near, aren't they? You walk down Weldon Road and there's a bit of a buzz, isn't there? And there's all the stalls and stuff. And then you get into the ground and there's the passageway behind the main stand where they've got all the souvenir stall and the spice stall, as they call it in Cass, sweets to anybody else, and burgers. And there's a Tiger Bar. And it kind of you feel you're at an event, and there's Sweet Caroline at the end. And they kind of they can do better, Cass. They can do better, but there are at least. Near, aren't they, Matt?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Cass do a good job with the match day experience. They do. They've got plenty of bars. That it helps at Cass because the ground is just unbelievable in so many ways. It's so tight. You're on top of the pitch. The atmosphere there on a Friday night is just phenomenal. Phenomenal.
And it's great when they win and Sweet Caroline comes on. You feel, but even if you don't support them, you feel like this is great. I'm going to join in.
I've never felt an atmosphere at any sporting event like I did when Cass won in the playoff semi-final in St. Helens.
Terrific game, wasn't it?
It was an unbelievable game, but the atmosphere was sensational.
Wasn't it great? Now, so why can't? Listen, Castleford haven't got a monopoly on that. So, I mean, Leeds do okay and stuff, but what's the matter with these other clubs like Wigan and,
There's two arenas now in rugby league. There's the traditional, the game is everything, come down.
Yeah.
And the other one where the game, like Cass, like Toronto, like York, dare I say we're trying to do that at London as well, is to try and make it a day out. And be welcoming.
Yeah, that's right.
And have the fans mingle together and have a few beers together and get live music on we had before.
So Matt mentioned the darts, right? And the semi 2020 cricket, it's an event model, and the actual result of the match is a very small part of it. Right? So if your team gets beat, that's not going to stop you going back the next week because you enjoyed the experience of the darts or the T20 and the ball. Surrey do a great job at the Oval, ball getting whacked out of the ground, blah blah blah. And as you mentioned, York and Cass. Now, is that the model now? Toronto and York and Cass leading the way.
Yeah, 100%. Right. You've got to make it a day event. You've got to do it.
Rob, how do you grow this game? You grow the game by bringing in new fans and fish in a bigger pool than we're currently fishing in. Yeah. The only way to do that is what you've just suggested.
I'll be honest with you. I've been to the darts 3 times. I have absolutely...
You didn't come and say hello?
I'd rather not see if I don't have to. I've been 3 times. I don't care about darts.
Of course not.
I don't care about darts. I've gone because I've have a few beers, have a good time, see people in fancy dress, maybe get on the TV, and then go out.
180 card.
Then go out.
Dance at the walk.
Then go out in Sheffield and get home at, I'll say 3 o'clock in the morning. Because I'm a professional.
Is that? I mean, you're a traditionalist at heart. I mean, but is that the way now it's going?
Well, it is with sports. You've got to make it an event. It's as simple as that.
Yeah,
it is.
Okay, right. Let's go into the Super League now.
Do we have to?
Yeah, well, there's going to be a string of games. There's going to be a string of games that nobody cares about, obviously.
I'm dreading. I'm going to Wakey Warrington on Friday, Rod, and I can honestly say I don't want to go.
Why are you doing that?
Because I've been asked to go. Right, sadly, I have nothing better to do.
They come into Ealing on Sunday.
I'm trying to find a way from Maidstone, actually.
Listen, what I'd like you to do is to come along, all right, and tell people who you are, and
where you come from.
Where you come from.
Right, okay.
I'm being serious now.
Yeah, all right.
But also to actually spread the word, because on Saturday, because Sky is showing it, we have got all the rugby union people there whose game is we're having a double header with. I want them to hear people eulogising about rugby league.
Right.
You'd be a good job at this, Schoey, as well.
Yes.
You know,
I'm going to come down. I'm going to come down next year. I'm going to come.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm coming.
You'll be my special guest.
I'm coming. I'm coming next year.
Can I
will you be taking? Will you be taking bodyguards? And sort of
I don't need to.
No?
I'm open and
I
honest.
think you could be in for a rough ride there, Schoey. I'll just warn you ahead.
Well, actually, I did a function.
You have written us off a few times.
I did a function last year down London for the London supporters, and it went down very well. Open and honest, and I enjoyed it. Yeah, it was good.
And you did suggest London was a feeder club for Castleford at the time.
Right. Yes.
But I'll be down there next year. I'll be down there next year as your guest.
You'd be very welcome.
Right, the Super League's got these 4 games that Matt was very good there because he actually knew what one of them was. I think there's quite a few people. Well, seriously, about the games that people don't even know, they don't even know who's playing. I tell you, tonight's quiz question, Schoey. Wigan are playing Hull, as you're probably aware. Do you know what was the last time Hull actually won a game? Do you know who there was the last team they beat?
Well, it's 10 on the bounce of loss, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, and we're going to be delighted because they just rolling in nicely for the semi-final out there. So if they wanted to pick an opposition to say who do we want to play,
like a warm-up fixture.
Yeah, who do we want to play before we go into the big one against Cass? Right. Give us a black and white.
Like a warm-up for a big heavyweight fight. You find someone you can knock over quick.
Yeah. Well, everything what they do on the training paddock, Wigan, and they say that'll be what they want to do against Cass. They'll be getting ripped in. Hull are pathetic. The players have put the queue on the rack and they're ready for Mad Monday.
It was the 29th of June 2018 when they beat Widnes was the answer to the question.
Yeah. So what day? What day are we on now? Yeah. What day are we on now?
Well, it's mid-September.
Yeah. So I'm saying it's absolutely pathetic the way them players have been performing.
Right. Well, thankfully, that will be the last game. And later on, we'll have some games to talk about on next week's Back Chat when Saints play Wire and Wigan play Cass in proper matches. Well, seriously.
Well, no, you're right.
Seriously, nobody cares, do they?
You don't support a Super League club.
Yeah.
I'll tell you.
Mind you, Warrington v Saints was actually for a dead rubber. Was a feisty dead rubber, wasn't it? A good game. Right.
Barbarians.
It was a bit. Yeah. Well, let's more of the same. Right. Look, you want to talk about the Dream Team, Matt, didn't you? Just a quick few ideas. Give us a sort of star performance. Man of Steel as well. We're Barber's odds on, but. Roby and Bateman were fairly high up in the betting, and McShane.
Yeah, I'm not even sure Barber will be on the shortlist, from what I'm told.
Goodness me.
I might be completely wrong.
Back in shock.
Don't forget the players.
If you said that in March, you'd have been carried out.
Don't forget the players. Don't forget the players vote for it. Now, I'm told that Barber might not get. It won't. He would be number 1 on mine. He would be Man of Steel for me.
Right.
But there is suggestions that Ben Barber may not make the Man of Steel.
Really? Have you heard the like, Schoey?
Well,
it's a revelation from Matt Shaw now.
Well, it came back pretty well this weekend, but apart from that, for the last 8 weeks,
they've already voted, haven't they?
He's been shocking, hasn't he?
When are the votes done, Matt?
They've been done.
They've been done. Right, so they've already been done.
But my votes for the Man of Steel for the top 3 would be Tupu at Wakefield, Roby at Saints, and also to Bateman at Wigan. That would be my 3 for Man of Steel.
Thoughts, Ron?
Bateman at Wigan has been great. Tupu doesn't quite get the same attention that some of the others.
Tell you what, he's been playing well for Wakefield, week in and week out. Scoring tries, creating tries. You asked Tom Johnson how good Tupu was. No disrespect to Wakefield, but is it easier to stand out at Wakefield than it is at Wigan? Week in and week out, he stands out.
I know, but is it easier?
So I guess is it just because he's at Wakefield he can't win the Man of Steel?
He's top meter maker in Super League, isn't he?
Yeah,
so
don't get me wrong. I think he's
right. From the man who's revealed that he didn't think Barber would be on the shortlist. Who do you think will be on the shortlist?
McShane, Roby and Bateman.
Yeah.
That's what I was told.
No,
I might be completely wrong. I often am.
No, but listen, just keep... Look, the thing is, Matt, the more guesses you have, the more chance you've got of getting one of them right. That's Gary Schofield. That's his tactic. But that would be fascinating, because if you'd said at the start of the season that Barber wouldn't be in the top 3, I mean, you'd have got some strange looks.
Yeah, and I think it would be ridiculous if he wasn't in the top 3.
Right. Should they change it? My friend and colleague Brian Carney has said for many, many years that it should be the same as Dally M, which is then a reflection on voting per match through the season as it builds round, whereas this one...
Like the Albert Goldthorpe.
Yes, exactly, yeah. So, whereas this one, of course, the players get 1 vote, but it comes at the end of the season, and whatever's fresh in their mind is likely to influence them, like all human beings. Should they change it to, as Matt says, Albert Goldthorpe, Dally M, as it goes accumulated through the season?
Well, one thing for sure, the players should not be picking the Man of Steel.
Why not?
No. I think the Sheffield...
Are you saying players aren't a good judge?
I think, yeah, I do, yeah.
Really?
Why do you think Kevin Sinfield never won the Man of Steel?
Well, the players didn't vote.
Well, yeah, because
the players didn't vote. Then Schoey, it was a panel.
Hold on, Kevin Sinfield on 2 or 3 occasions with this new system should have won the Man of Steel, but unfortunately for Kevin, I don't think he was very well liked by his fellow professionals. I can reassure you from there. So, but for me, it should be a panel of ex-Man of Steel winners. No, it's not. It's the players who select it.
But it was a panel before.
Not what Seven Kivius. Are you telling me Kevin Sinfield should not have won the Man of Steel the way he's played?
No,
it should have been so with his system, but now it should be a panel of 3, maybe 4 ex-Man of Steel winners, but not. It's not.
He's not listening to me.
I'm not getting an argument with Schoey on this.
The thing about Kevin Sinfield is probably, in my opinion, the finest player of the Super League era. But the Man of Steel is only on a seasonal basis, and if you look back at the people that won it when Kevin Sinfield was in his pomp, was he the best in that season?
Was he not in his pomp in 2015? 2014?
Probably as good as it gets you mean?
The system has stopped. The system stopped Kevin Sinfield being the Man of Steel.
The problem you have is it does become a little bit of a popularity contest.
Of course it does. It does.
And the other issue as well is when they release the votes and there's some idiot who's voted for a reserve grade player at one of the sides as the Man of Steel, and it just makes a mockery of the whole thing.
Any general election, we're all free to vote for the Monster Raven Looney Party if we like.
You get the point.
The problem with democracy is that sometimes you don't get the result you want.
There's an argument.
There's not a perfect way to do it.
Right, let's just have a quick scan through. No, it's not, obviously. Just anything that creates an argument.
Get a panel.
They had that before.
Let the media vote the Man of Steel.
No, well, the media vote the dream team, don't they? So we can blame you.
Hey, Rod, when it was a proper panel, they got the right people who deserved the Man of Steel. I can reassure you.
Okay, Gary. Right. Okay. Yes. Right. Now the dream team is the media, so the media are to blame. Give us a few thoughts going like fullback and outside backs. Who's been the standout?
Ben Barber, Tommy Makinson, Josh Charnley.
This is his vote. Is this your vote?
This is who I'd be voting for. Bill Tupou, Mark Percival, Danny Richardson, and probably. Oh, I don't know. I'd vote for as the other half.
Would Drinkwater be in the frame? Only half a season.
I'd say my fullbacks Tonkins, my wingers is Makinson and Charnley, my centres are Tupou and Percival, and my half-backs are the Catalans pair.
Sammy Sonny Lange in the dream team.
Yeah, Lange and Drinkwater.
I would put Gigo in at fullback.
Champagne Tony Gigo.
Tompkins has been sensational.
Right.
The interesting one's back row. I think John Bateman will definitely be in. I don't think there's been a standout back rower other than John Bateman. Personally, I'd go Akumatai. Huddersfield. I think he's been really good. Okay. I'd have Ben Murdoch Masira at loose forward. Robbie my hooker, and my prop would be Remy Castett and Luke Thompson.
Yep. Thompson would be. I think didn't he win the Saints Player of the Year? Yeah. So he'd be a certainty. Would he? Thompson forward, Schoey?
Oh yeah, Thompson. Scott Taylor prop, Roby hooker. Yeah, Thompson from there. Bateman in the back row. The loose forward. Who's looking at?
Well, I'd go Ben Murdoch Masira because he's played there. You could go Louis McCarthy Scarsbrook, who has been good for Saints.
Been good.
The second row is the interesting one. That's the interesting one.
Well, Bateman's got to be one of them,
Bateman's one, but who the other one is, I don't know. Could a Matty Ashurst get in Wakefield? Maybe?
Bit underrated.
It's consistent week in and week out.
It's always interesting. It's always a bit of fun, the dream team, isn't it? I don't know. Do players take that as an honour? Something voted by journalists, going by journalists.
It wasn't in my day, so I'm not interested to
No.
Can I ask Schoey a question before we finish?
Fire away.
Schoey, on television, we'd like you now to reveal to us why you have consistently underrated London for donkey's years.
Right. Well, all right then. Right, Ron. You've been part of Rugby League for 38 years.
I have, yes.
You've been bailed out of the rubbish 3 times.
Yes.
You've been pretty successful. You've been to Wembley in 1999.
Yep.
Right. And the success what you've had, the disasters what you had from there, and still all the grounds where you've moved from, the money what you should have done realistically, should have built your own stadium with what Mr. Hughes. So you've had 38 years, and you're still struggling for 1,000 people to get there. So you trying to tell me that's successful?
No.
That's what I'm saying. That's my reply to that.
The only way to succeed in London is to have a team that's capable of winning the grand final. Then you'll know whether London
But at this moment in time, you're a mile off. You're a
nowhere
mile
near
off.
it.
Correct.
Nowhere near it. What would have happened after 1999 when we played in the Cup final? We had a billionaire owner, high recognition, high worth.
Yes, we all know that is. Yeah.
That's Mr. Branson. You need to be quick, Ron, because we've only got a minute.
What would have happened?
Solve London's
What
problem.
would have happened if he'd still be there now?
Well, the fact is, he's not. So there's your answer.
Well, he pretty quickly worked out that he couldn't make it. It wasn't a money-making venture, didn't he? I mean, that was pretty much the end of it.
I think there were some values he didn't like.
But I look forward to come down next year. And if we're doing a question answer, I look forward to be open and honest.
I will leave you my card.
I look forward to a great couple of nights out, hopefully.
With peace breaking out there, time to close this week's edition of Rugby League Back Chat. Maybe London will be in the £1 million game, perhaps, if they can defeat Halifax at the weekend. If you want to get more details of what's on this channel, go to our website, www.freesports.tv. Thanks to our guests, the legend Gary Schofield, the editor of Rugby League World, Matt Shaw, and outspoken London fan, Ron Knox. Thanks for joining us, guys. Next week, Dave Woods will be in this chair. Hope you'll join him and his guests for Rugby League Back Chat next week. But for now, it's bye.
Rugby League Back Chat is sponsored by TotalRL.com.